August 25th, 1944. Northern France. The air still smells of diesel and dust. Dawn breaks over a country road near Chartres, the kind that winds through golden wheat fields and shattered farmhouses. A German lieutenant, barely 24, presses his field glasses to his eyes from a ridge. What he sees makes no sense. Below him, a river of trucks stretches to the horizon, olive-drab giants, their engines growling in unison. GMC 2 deuce-and-a-halfs, Studebakers, Dodges, every make and model he's ever heard of, and hundreds more. They move like a machine that never sleeps, headlights dimmed under the morning haze, each painted with a bold red circle enclosing 2 words: Red Ball. The lieutenant mutters to his sergeant, "Das ist unmöglich." This is impossible. Yet the convoy keeps coming. Dozens become hundreds, hundreds become thousands. Men in khaki helmets and dark faces lean from the cabs, cigarette smoke drifting from their lips as they shout instructions over the roar of engines. On the back of every truck, crates, fuel drums, ammunition, food, everything an army needs to live and fight. What the Germans are witnessing is not an army division, but a miracle of logistics. The Red Ball Express, America's rolling lifeline across France. Only weeks earlier, the Allies had broken out of Normandy. Operation Cobra had shattered German defenses, sending Patton's Third Army racing eastward. But in their triumph lay a deadly problem. They were running out of fuel. The front was moving faster than the supply lines could follow. The Normandy ports were still in ruins. Every mile of advance stretched the lifeline thinner. So the Americans did something unthinkable. They built a highway out of thin air. From Cherbourg to the front, engineers carved a 700-kilometer route of one-way roads. Convoys roared day and night. No stops, no detours, no hesitation. Trucks bore the mark of the red ball to signal priority passage. Any vehicle that blocked their way risked being shoved off the road, civilian or military alike. Over 6,000 vehicles ran the route daily. Nearly 75% of the drivers were African American, men of the segregated Quartermaster Corps, often overlooked, rarely celebrated. But in the fall of 1944, they became the heartbeat of the Allied advance. At every hour, the engines thundered through the French countryside. Fuel for Patton, bullets for the infantry, bread, medicine, mail, everything. To the German soldiers watching from the hedgerows, it looked endless. And in many ways, it was. September 1st, 1944, near Chartres, France. The Red Ball Express roars through the night like a living thing. Headlights are blacked out, only dim blue convoy lamps glow beneath the bumpers, tracing ghostly ribbons of light across the countryside. Inside the cab of one rattling GMC truck, Private First Class Leroy Slim Hawkins grips the wheel with both hands. He hasn't slept in 30 hours. His co-driver, Corporal James Carter, leans against the window, half asleep, the cigarette in his mouth burning down to the filter. The radio crackles. Convoy Bravo 7, maintain spacing. Enemy patrols reported near Dreux. Slim exhales. Patrols, huh? I'd like to see him try to stop 6,000 trucks. Carter chuckles tiredly, eyes still closed. They can't stop us, Slim. We are the damn army. And he's right. These men are the unsung backbone of the Allied war machine. Most are in their early 20s, sons of sharecroppers, mechanics, cooks, trained not to fight, but to drive. Yet every mile they cover is a battle of its own. Ambushes, mines, mud, exhaustion. Their trucks, the 212-ton GMC Sigai Kyawazabu, are temperamental beasts. If one breaks down, they fix it on the spot. Engines roar, wrenches clatter, tires spin through ruts of French mud. They eat from tin cans, sleep in the cabs, and drive until the horizon turns from dusk to dawn again. Each truck carries up to 5 tons of cargo: jerrycans, artillery shells, crates of K-rations. When a vehicle flips or burns, and many do, there's no time to mourn. Another truck pulls up, loads the supplies, and keeps moving. The convoy never stops. "Keep 'em rollin'," their motto says. Behind them, engineers patch potholes, MPs direct traffic, and fuel depots burn through thousands of gallons each day just to feed the convoys themselves. To the soldiers at the front, the Red Ball Express is a miracle. Patton's tanks drink 800,000 gallons of gasoline a day, a bottomless thirst that would have ended the war's momentum within weeks. But thanks to the drivers, fuel drums arrive faster than the panzers can retreat. General Patton himself famously said, "My men can eat their belts, but my tanks gotta have gas." And the Red Ball gave him plenty. While the Germans scrambled to defend every river and crossroad, these convoys tore through the night without mercy. Luftwaffe pilots tried to strafe them, but Allied air cover and constant movement made them hard targets. Some trucks were armed with 50 cal machine guns, others simply relied on speed and darkness. Slim Hawkins looks out into the endless stream of taillights ahead. Faint red glows swallowed by fog. "You ever think the Krauts know what's coming?" he says quietly. Carter grins. "They'll figure it out when our gas shows up before they do." September 10th, 1944. South of the Seine River. In a captured farmhouse converted into a command post, Major Wilhelm Kruger of the Wehrmacht pores over a map littered with pins and arrows. His supply officer stumbles in, pale and sweating. "Major, our fuel reserves are gone. The last tank in 21st Panzer stopped outside Montmirail. We've got nothing left." Kruger looks up, eyes hollow. "And the Americans?" The officer hesitates. "They keep coming. Trucks, thousands of them, day and night. Our scouts say it's endless." Outside, thunder echoes. Not from the sky, but from distant engines. The sound never stops. German intelligence officers had tried to understand how the Americans could maintain such an advance. Bridges were destroyed, roads cratered, rail lines cut. Yet every morning, another column of Shermans and half-tracks rolled forward. The Allies seemed tireless, fueled by some invisible force. That force was the Red Ball Express. To the Germans, it defied logic. By all calculations, Patton's tanks should have stalled weeks ago. His spearheads had outrun their depots, his armies stretched thin across France. And yet, they advanced another 50 miles, then another 100. Captured reports from Wehrmacht units describe the phenomenon in disbelief. The Americans are supplied as if by magic. Their vehicles never lack fuel or ammunition. It is beyond comprehension. But there was no magic. Only raw manpower and grit. Back on the roads, men like Slim Hawkins were the reason. They drove through rain that turned the French fields to rivers of mud, through black nights with no headlights, through shell fire and strafing runs. They ate when they could, cold beans, dry biscuits, and sang over the roar of the engines to stay awake. "Rollin', rollin', rollin', keep them convoys rollin'," they'd chant, slapping the dashboards for rhythm. By mid-September, the Red Ball Express was delivering 12,500 tons of supplies per day. Every drop of gasoline, every bullet, every loaf of bread moving to the front came through those trucks. When the U.S. Third Army reached the Moselle, German units were starving for ammunition. Tanks were abandoned on the roadside, engines dry. Patton's men rolled past, fueled and fed, the convoy humming behind them. From the shattered windows of a church tower near Metz, Major Kruger watches the American armor push across the valley. He lowers his binoculars and mutters to no one. They have an army that eats distance. September 20th, 1944. Near Verdun, France. The roads tremble again, the never-ending rumble of the Red Ball Express. Mud splatters the sides of olive-drab trucks as rain pours down in sheets. A convoy snakes through a narrow forest road, headlights barely visible under blackout covers. In the lead truck, Slim Hawkins leans forward, squinting into the dark. His knuckles are white against the wheel. He's lost count of the hours. Maybe 40, maybe 50. The last rest stop was 2 days ago. The only thing that matters now is the rhythm, the hum of the engine, the wet slap of the tires, the next bend in the road. In his rearview mirror, 100 headlights blink through the trees like ghostly fireflies. A sharp crack splits the air. A mine. The second truck vanishes in a flash of fire and mud. Slim jerks the wheel left, barely missing the crater. The convoy keeps moving. No stops. No time for rescue. The column can't risk halting. If one truck stops, the chain breaks. For every mile they drive, 10 lives at the front depend on them. Slim's truck rattles across a wooden bridge, the planks groaning under the weight. Below, the Meuse River glows faintly under the moonlight. He mutters a prayer, not for himself, but for the next driver behind him. As the night deepens, the road opens into an open plain. Ahead, floodlights shine. An Allied depot, one of hundreds scattered across liberated France. They call it a gasoline dump, but it looks more like a city made of steel drums. Thousands of barrels stacked higher than tanks, glistening with rain. MPs guide the trucks in with batons, shouting over the storm. Slim cuts the engine, and silence hits him like a wave. His body trembles. A sergeant waves him over. "Unload and turn around, Private. You're heading back out at 0400. Slim laughs, a short, exhausted sound. "Ain't even time for coffee?" The sergeant grins. "You want coffee, Hawkins? Keep the trucks running. You'll get all you want in Berlin." Slim salutes, smirks, and climbs down into the mud. Around him, hundreds of drivers unload drums of gasoline, their faces lit by the glow of floodlights and cigarette tips. Rain turns everything into a haze. The hiss of tires, the splash of boots, the metallic clang of barrels. Each man knows the routine. Each knows they're invisible to the headlines. But they also know something else. Without them, the front collapses. At that very hour, 30 miles east, Patton's tanks roar into the German border. The Ardennes looms ahead, a dark, foreboding wall of forest. The men in the tanks don't know who brought them the fuel, or who risked the night to keep their engines alive. But they know one thing. They never ran dry. Meanwhile, in a captured bunker, German officers listen to intercepted radio chatter. Supply movements, convoy codes, American chatter filled with laughter and songs. One officer slams his fist on the table. They drive through hell itself, and they sing. Another replies quietly, "Maybe that's why they're winning." As dawn breaks, Slim's convoy pulls back onto the road. Engines rumbling, smoke rising behind them. The trucks stretch again to the horizon, a line of determination and exhaustion, bound by one purpose. The Red Ball Express will run for 81 days straight. By the time it ends in November 1944, it will have hauled over 400,000 tons of fuel, ammunition, and food across France. It won't win a medal. It won't make the newspapers. But it will win the war. As Slim wipes the fog from his windshield and presses the pedal again, he grins at the endless road ahead. "Keep 'em rolling," he says to no one, and the convoy obeys.